Well, it looks like we've got about 34 folks here, and just in the interest of time, wanting to get started, I want to welcome everyone to the February All In Eats meeting. Happy to have everyone here, and I would love for folks, since we have just a large number of folks on the call, if we could just have people type their name and organization, and one thing that they're enjoying about the weather that we are having in the Bay Area this week, or something that you've been able to do now that it's been sunny and in the 70s for a few days. So please share who you are in the chat. Next slide, please. My name is Larissa Estes White. I'm the director of All in Alameda County, and we'll kick us off today. Our agenda is shown on the screen. We'll do a little bit of framing of our work, and that'll be led by Mary Ruth. We'll do a community share from Alameda County Probation Department to share a little bit about some of their work that they're doing as it relates to the food space. We will do our breakout rooms as we've been doing traditionally. And again, please rename yourself with the number associated with the breakout room that you would like to join. And when that moment comes, we'll have you arranged into those rooms as appropriate. We'll do some report out, of course, and a logo reveal. Dave is going to lead us through a bit of a discussion around vision and mission, and we'll wrap up with some updates. I do want to go over the next 2 slides and just check in on our community values and norms. I just want to place this up here and give us the opportunity to quickly take a look at this list that we came up with, and also offer the opportunity to amend anything, add anything. I don't want to necessarily read it, but this is a practice that we've been doing for the last few meetings, and just wanting to be open to ensuring that we continue to hold up these values and norms amongst ourselves as we engage with each other. So I'll just give us a moment there. Dave, you got to work from outside. All right, let's go to the next slide. This is a second set, and I think next meeting I'm going to bring some music to be played during these awkward spaces of silence.
Love it.
And glad to see folks are pruning their trees and taking walks. Dave, like you, I need to get outside more, so I hope to set up the outdoor office and sit outside, and you'll see me in sunglasses maybe in the next few meetings or next few days. All right. Were there any changes or adaptations people would like to make to the community norms? All right, hearing none. And please, if something does come up in our conversation where we do need to reflect back on the community norms, please acknowledge that and bring that up. And what we can do is come back to this space and review them again and decide how we may want to change them or reemphasize them. So thank you for those moments. At this point, I'll turn it over to Mary Ruth to talk a little bit about the work that we've been doing. Mary Ruth.
Thank you. And just as a reminder, we do record these sessions for those who are not able to make it. So hopefully you're all comfortable with that. If you're not, feel free to just shut off your camera for now. We don't record the breakout rooms, but at these larger sessions, we are doing that. We wanted to just do a little bit of reframing. We recognize that there are some people who are coming to these meetings and probably have never seen the song and dance that Hillary and I do explaining our model of the circular food economy for All In Eats. And so we thought it would be a good idea probably at most meetings to in some way just kind of reiterate what we have in mind and do some framing to help everybody just figure out what we're doing in these groups. And so I just wanted to quickly go over the concept and then talk about what we think our purpose is for these meetings, and then take comments and have anybody reflect back on any of the things that I've said. So you can see this graphic here. It's kind of a version of the circular food economy that we've been developing. And you can see in the middle, there are 5 components. Starts with produce, aggregate, process, distribute, and recover. And this is kind of the framework that we're using to think about the circular food economy, with the concept being that we are keeping both food flowing within the community and the economics of the food system flowing within the community, rather than having it go outside of the community or bring things in from outside of the community. And in this way, we think that it helps to support local entrepreneurs, the health of local residents, the local environment, and a variety of other things. For us, there are many different parts to each of these components, which I'll just sort of explore here. So for the produce, really that's all about the farms. And for us, it's regenerative agriculture and permaculture farming, which helps to nourish the soil, capture carbon, and build really, really healthy food that then gets put into our food as medicine programs. At the farms, and we are trying to build a farm collective where we're working with other farms so that we can, as a group, bid on larger contracts with institutional buyers to sell the produce into a bigger system and build demand for locally grown produce, and then also support farmers with fair wages and prices for their foods. And we're also building re-entry jobs through farm internships and similar things like that. And I know that a lot of organizations within the All in Eats community do similar things with their farm programs. So that's kind of the produce section. Then we go to aggregate, and that's all about the food hubs. For us, we have the one food hub that is in San Leandro, that is part of the Dig Deep Farms system. And that has grown to be the central place where we bring all of the food together from the food economy. So the food grown from the farmers, the recovered food, and then also prepared food from vendors, and it all gets organized together and then put together into bags that go out to families who could use that food. And I know, again, that there are a lot of other similar types of food hubs within the community, so we're hoping to coordinate with some of them so we can do a better job of coordinating a lot of the food flow within the community so that it goes a little bit more efficiently. And then also for us, the food hub is a place where we incubate food businesses and local food entrepreneurs. The process section or component of the food economy is all about those food entrepreneurs. So we're incubating them and also supporting them. We're thinking about maybe doing a food entrepreneur collective so that we can help these food entrepreneurs bid on larger contracts, again, with hospitals and schools to do prepared meals, perhaps. And then also in the future, we'll update you on this later, but medically supportive foods are something that we are hoping to produce in the future. And that would be prepared meals that meet very strict nutrition standards for people who meet certain dietary disease requirements, and that would be able to receive prepared meals as a covered benefit from Medi-Cal. So that's the food entrepreneurs. The distribute, that's really been ramped up in the COVID pandemic because people are not often able to come and get the food. And so distribute has become for us a lot of vans and drivers. We've been expanding that, and we hope that to continue and eventually sort of change the model to possibly have an app that's like a DoorDash kind of app for people that's more affordable. And so that'll be in the future, way in the future, but that's part of the distribute sort of vision. Again, the vans are driven by re-entry drivers, and so we're producing more jobs through that program. And then this is where we see the real health benefits of the Food as Medicine program. So some of the food is distributed through clinics, the Food as Medicine clinics, directly through food pharmacies, spelled FARM pharmacies, and then some of it will go out through the vans and drivers, and then people, as they consume this food, see significant health benefits, and that benefits them economically, but also the local community in terms of lowering medical costs. And then, of course, there's the recover phase, which is my favorite because I hate waste. And so there's pulling food in that's edible and redistributing to people. and then also composting food back into the farms. And that's where we come full circle with the food aspect by building back into our soils through compost. So that is a very quick tour of the model that we're building, the circular food economy. And what we're hoping to do is really, build partnerships with community organizations that are doing similar things and help us think about how we can do this together better. And that leads me to the purpose of our working group meetings. For us, we sort of think of these meeting spaces as an opportunity to see, celebrate, and support. And so see is sort of that element of how do we see each other as connected to one another within the circular food economy in new ways that we may not have thought of before. So by reiterating this circular food economy model, hopefully getting people to think really creatively about how they can connect and support other components of the system. Celebrate is talking about the really innovative things that you guys are all doing within the community. And so we would love to highlight cool things that are going on. If you've got a new project or initiative that you want to highlight, let me know. We would like to have you share. And then support, this comes back to, as we see these connections more clearly, how can we integrate better so that we're building this circular food economy that benefits everybody. So as we go into breakout rooms, which we will do next, I believe, what we want, or what we're hoping, is that you sort of use this see, celebrate, and support model to have discussions with each other. And we tried to make it as open as possible, but feel free to take the conversation where you think it's going to be most valuable, but share updates about what you guys are doing, do some problem solving and connecting, seeing how you can work together, and then brainstorm other ways that you might find new connections within the circular food economy. So with that, I will open it up to see if there's any comments or questions.
Mary Ruth,
yeah.
When are we doing the community share? Is that going to be after the breakout?
Yes, no, that's before. See, I thought there was something else. Thank you for the reminder. We will do the community share right after this, but do you want to open it up to any comments or questions at this point?
Hi, I have a question. This is JP from Homies Empowerment.
Yeah.
And I'm calling in. Unfortunately, I had to be driving during this call today. So I'm just wondering, I couldn't, add which working group I wanted to be in. And I'm just curious if I can go into a breakout room from calling in. And if I can. Okay.
You can.
And I would just love to be in the food aid distribution. So I think it's number 3.
Okay. Sounds great. Edward, did you get that?
Thank you.
Okay. Super.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Glad to have you. Anyone else? And just a reminder, as we go into the community share, just as you're listening to the community share, remember to change your name by putting the number of the breakout room that you would like to go into in your name. And with that, hearing no comments or questions, I guess we can move into the community share. Do we have Karen with us? Oh, yes, I see Karen. There she is. The floor is yours.
There we go. Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Okay, good. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm not as proficient at Zoom as I am Teams, but I'm getting there. It's a pleasure to be here today. Just real briefly, I was asked to speak on probation's efforts to support this wonderful initiative. It supports us as well. Part of our mission is to ensure that our clients can reintegrate in society successfully upon their return from any kind of incarceration. And one of the 2 top needs that our clients have is, of course, housing, but the other one is employment. And so through our partnership with the Sheriff's Office and Dig Deep Farms and All In, this was an excellent opportunity to give back to the community and provide some meaningful employment. So we typically have adult clients on our caseload on average for about 2 years, some a little longer and some less. And of course, a recent legislation, AB 1950, impacts those terms, but in the past they've served on average about 2 years. And so we try to provide them lots of opportunities to re-engage, including education, employment, whatnot. And in the area of employment, so we offer transitional employment opportunities. And so we originally set it up, the Dig Deep Farms had a need for 2 food truck drivers. And what they do is they pick up and deliver from local farms, schools, restaurants, farmers markets. And I think the goal has been for them to get as much as 850 pounds per day, and also to attain a food handler's certificate within the first 6 months of their employment. And it was just wildly successful. We were able to leverage an existing employment CBO contract that we had to provide 2 job opportunities. And because Dig Deep Farms and the initiative is doing so well, they approached us, I want to say in the fall of 2020, that they wanted to rapidly expand and had an opportunity for 12 additional drivers. And so our model now for employment contracts is we do an employment vendor pool. We advertise the opportunity quarterly, and as long as the CBO meets our minimum criteria, they're entered into the pool. And it gives us the ability to hopefully one day have employment providers throughout the county. We have a few areas that we're still looking to find some in. We have plenty, I think at least 4 now in Oakland area. But anyway, they all have the opportunity now to refer clients for this transitional employment, and they get interviewed through Dig Deep Farms, and then they get employment. So the only limitation to it right now is it is transitional employment, in that that's what probation's model is. Once they're off of supervision, they need to be able to transition to ongoing employment. So we're now working with Hillary and the Sheriff's Office on exploring a model where we could make that more permanent employment for them ongoing. With reentry clients, you sometimes have some that crash and burn. Maybe they're not ready to take the next step, but there's at least a couple, I believe, that have been employed almost this entire time. And what they're not getting with transitional employment is benefits, right? And so that's the next thing that we would like to see happen, is how can we make these permanent jobs? And so then there would be a pathway for them to do this great work on an existing transitional employment contract. And once they've proven, that they can meet the demands of the job for a period of time, is there a path for them to transition to permanent employment? So probation is all in on this initiative, and would really like to see the county make this in an official agency of some kind, so that we could make that happen for our reentry clients. I don't know if there were any specific areas other than that you guys wanted me to touch on, but that's in a nutshell is how probation is helping to contribute to this. We now have the 14 opportunities. These are adult reentry clients, and it's been pretty successful. Any questions for me? All right, I think that was all I had.
Actually, Karen, I'd love to hear about to what extent you guys are doing like leadership development, and like just how you're baking that into the program. I think that's something that we've been thinking about, is how to offer, kind of real holistic support for people in our work, and besides just like employment. And it sounds like you guys are doing that. And if you could speak to that, that'd be great.
I'm not sure I'm following. Help me out. What is it?
So I'm interested in the work that we're doing with Reclamation Nation, being able to offer folks that work in our organization more than just a job. So leadership development and potentially like counseling or connection to other like wraparound services. So again, a kind of more like holistic engagement with the folks that we're working with. Is that a part of your guys's model or thinking, or yeah, just would like to hear you talk about that and learn.
Oh,
what you're doing.
I can't speak specifically for what Dig Deep Farms, because they do technically they're their employees, right, through these employment contracts. But our model for all of our employment vendors is that they have a case. We have a number of performance measurements in those contracts, and I haven't looked at them lately, so I'm going from my pathetic memory. But we want them all to be assessed and have a case plan, I believe, within the first 30 days, right? And the goal is for them to achieve meaningful employment. And if that includes having to remove some barriers, there's opportunities for the employment vendors to do that. The case management is definitely a component of it. And when we looked at the national research, the recommendation was around, I think it's about 520 hours of subsidized employment, but then being able to transition them after that. We've had to make an exception from that specifically for these food drivers, because there's a learning curve for them and they have to demonstrate some proficiency here, but also because we don't have the ability in this current model to transition them to ongoing employment. We've had to make an exception specifically for these Dig Deep Farms drivers around that. But our probation employment model, normally you're looking for subsidized employment up to a certain period of time, but then the long-term goal of transitioning them to ongoing employment. Does that help?
Could I add something as well to that?
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you, Karen, for sharing today, and just more than anything, thank you for being such an innovator in Alameda County as a public safety agency. And I think part of what All In Eats represents are these innovations from our systems, like the sheriff's office, probation, district attorney. Like, we're all at this point working collaboratively to do things differently, with the food system being the centripetal force of how we can get there. And what's been amazing about everything that Karen just laid out is that it is following a lot of the evidence-based practices that are out there. So the when we started Dig Deep Farms back in 2010, we thought that we could just create jobs for people as urban farmers straight coming out of Santa Rita jail without any let's just create a job. And we learned the hard way, but Karen already knows the evidence that there has to be, people need support. And by working really in deep partnership with the CBO partners like Boss and La Familia and Lau Family and their case managers, who are giving them soft skills training in advance. A lot of stuff happens behind the scenes before they even show up on day one. And then those case managers work hand in hand with the Dig Deep Farms management, so that there's this co-management structure, because we also don't want the sort of on the job, the work site management to step over the line onto the case management role. And so the case managers do what they do best. And we don't claim to do that. So we divide and conquer in that way, which I think is really proving to be very successful as a methodology. And so it's I feel like this is a perfect example of what maybe the nation is calling for in terms of reform in public safety, and looking at the role of economic development as a pathway to get there. But also really utilizing these best practices to better partner and leverage each other's resources.
Thank you, Hillary. And that allowed me to quickly pull up one of my employment vendors' proposals so I could refresh my memory. And we do ask each of them to identify for us as part of their proposal how many they intend to serve. They're all supposed to get a career assessment and plan developed. It includes case coordination, pre-employment training, if needed, barrier removal, stipends or bonuses for the clients, you know, as rewards for completing any pre-employment training. And then the transitional work, you know, up to 520 hours of subsidized employment. And then client support and job placement. And then we look at things like job retention at 30 days, 90 days, and 180 days to assess how effective those programs are being.
That's great.
Hi, Karen. I have a question. It's Sabrina over at Family Justice Center. I love this program. I've heard about it. I've read about it, and you and Diggy are doing phenomenal work. For the folks who are on probation and enrolled in this program, are the courts getting a update when they go back to court, or are the courts getting any information of how well they're doing on this?
I think I might be having trouble with your audio because you were cutting in and out, but I think I heard you say, are the courts getting updates on their successes in participating in these? And the answer is yes. The DPO, that's part of their job, right? The DPO makes the referral for the client to that employment vendor. And now that we have an automated case management system, we have our providers use what we call our provider portal to let us know they've accepted the referral, and then they can start front loading some of those benchmarks in there. And then the DPOs do include client progress in these programs that they referred them to in their reports to the court.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you very much, Karen, and thank you for the engagement with this topic, everybody. I really appreciate that. And I think with that, we are now ready to head to our breakout rooms, if that's all right. So unless anybody else has any final questions, we'll go there and spend some time and then come back and report back what we have worked on in each of the groups. Okay, Edward, take it away.
Hey, y'all, sorry I'm on the phone. If you could send me to the Dig Deep group, that would be great, please.
How's that going?
I think everyone's just about in. We have a handful of people still here. Does anyone here still need to be assigned to a breakout group?
Emily and I should go to 5. Yep. Sorry, go ahead, Claude.
Yes. Good morning, y'all. This is Dean Hassan. I thought I put number 1 in my name. But yeah, group 1, please.
I'll take care of you right now. Thank you.
Thanks.
Looks like Casey is in 4.
Or
cut her off. Oops.
No pressure. We'll get there.
I've got you, Connor.
Grace, do you know which breakout room you want to go to?
Yeah, number 4 would be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Emily's still here. She says that she can't join. As in, like, she can't join right now. I think she's unavailable.
Oh, no. Can you resend for me to group 5?
Oh.
Yeah, I somehow clicked out of it, so I couldn't get back to
go. Oh, and Larry and I as well.
Is there a prompt on your screen to tell you to join? think there should be a prompt on your screen right now.
Oh, you know what? There's, I
Leave
think
the
it's
meeting and come back
hidden.
in. I think it'll reset for me.
Okay.
It disappeared. Yeah. Okay, I'll be back.
Anyone here still need to be sent to a breakout room? Okay. Oh, Larry, I've got you, Larry. Actually, you should be getting a prompt. See your prompt on your screen, Larry? Hey, welcome back. Are you getting a prompt?
So it says, please wait to be assigned.
Okay, I'm gonna like move between 2 different rooms then, okay? And then hopefully get you in there. You're number 5, just to make sure, right?
Yeah, thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you for your patience.
There we go.
Got a phone number person here. If you need to be sent to a breakout room, you're on mute right now. So I can't hear you if you need to be sent to a breakout room. But I'm here whenever you're ready. Hi, Sasha. How you doing? Well, I can't really hear you right now. I think your audio might be still loading up. Oh, okay. Room 1. I've got you, Sasha. Just give me 1 second. Hi, welcome. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well.
All right. Are you here for the All in Eats collab?
I am, yeah. I'm joining a little late. I'm sorry, I had another meeting.
Yeah, no worries. I'm gonna leave in the chat the different groups you could possibly join.
Okay.
Just cooperate. And just tell me which group do you think you best would work with.
Okay, that is a great question. Let me pull up Mary Ruth's email. We are actually a community technology platform.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking either process or policies. But I think Mary Ruth's email might have had a little bit of description. Yeah, one second. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Sorry, I'm just thinking.
No, don't worry. Take your time.
Actually, looking at Mary Ruth's email, I think it would be great to join the distribute group.
Okay. And if you feel like the group isn't a fit for you, just message me on the chat and I'll fix it for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
No worries. For the sake of recording, I'm going to pause it here until everyone returns.
Produce are becoming incubated and being a part of the network. And also we had procurers on the call, and they're interested in finding out how can they, with their budget, participate and be fair to their budget and also be fair to the farmer.
And one last thing we'd like to add, if anybody's new to the group or met some new people that
I think you keep going.
Okay. Or know any farmers and farms that are interested in joining our collective, please drop your email down so we can send you a survey that you can share with others in your network too.
Great. Okay, so it sounds like you guys are going to meet between now and the next large group meeting, which sounds great, and identify some policies related to land and food procurement and reparations. That all sounds great. And if you do identify specific policies, let us in the policy group know, and we'll find ways to support that so we can get some advocacy on the policies that you think are most important. Okay. Group number 2 is food entrepreneurs. Somebody from Hasmin's group want to talk?
I can go ahead and do a very brief, cool reflection. Hello, everybody. I'm Hasmin. I'm the small business liaison for DSAL. So we actually had a super dope group. I had a great time. I unfortunately wasn't able to be here last meeting. However, the notes from last time we kind of built off of. We went through a lot of different updates and exciting updates from one another, and went through a couple questions. We did discuss kind of the scale of food hubs and how we can best support small business and entrepreneurs, and how we can scale from larger businesses to like really smaller businesses and smaller communities, and what the different models would look like for that. Because at the Food Hub we do have a pretty strong, super dope model, but how also we could kind of bring that down to like a little more of a, what is it, like a smaller scale. I was trying to think of like a fancy word, but I'm not even going to try to do that right now. We also talked about different resources that were available and how we can get funding for smaller food hubs. how we can minimize food waste and different partnerships that we can create with larger producers. We went through a lot, y'all. Dang, I have like a whole full page of notes. And then we also talked about different ways to get funding for these food hubs and allocate funding for small businesses and entrepreneurs who might not have, the capital to start a business and to rent space and, have all these resources that they do need. And we went over different legislation. I know it was brought to my attention that there's a couple different Senate bills as well as an Assembly bill that I can let you guys know. Or I'll tell you, it's the Assembly, I have it right here. It's the Assembly bill number 368 and the Senate bill number 107. Shout out my teammates for letting me know about that as well. And let me think. That's basically, I think, the gist of it. As far as it goes, we're really looking at how we can help small businesses access funding, access resources, and what it would look like on our end to really build up those programs for the entrepreneurs to be successful at the larger scale, but also at the smaller scale. We didn't get to our action steps because the conversation was so great. But I will be following up with everybody because I have all their contact information and I'm pretty familiar with them at this point. But yes, I'm gonna try to at least contact each of them once before our next meeting. Or I'm not going to try. I'm claiming it. I'm going to do it.
All right. I love your enthusiasm. I was going to say we are in the process of building a new website for All In Eats. So if you were to come up with a list of resources for food entrepreneurs that you'd want available, let us know. We'll put that on there so that it's easily accessible. Okay, thumbs up for that. Group 3, food distribution. So this is Larissa's.
Yeah, so we had, I provided a bit of an update on action taken by the Alameda County Board of Supervisors on extending emergency food distribution and those existing contracts through the end of March. We had Alex from Alameda County Community Food Bank provide us an update on some of the other policy opportunities at the state and federal level and how those impact emergency food distribution. So one of our next steps are related to advocacy opportunities that impact the resources that we are receiving direct on the ground. We will have likely an update from Fair Resources on their asset mapping initiative. Finally, we did talk a little bit about the role that CBOs have played in stepping up, filling gaps, and pivoting on their own models or service models to really meet the needs of the community in doing emergency food distribution. This has taken a great toll on their operational models, and they've been asked to pivot in a lot of different ways and multiple times during this last year. And in addition, they are, carrying the burden of the toll of the pandemic and witnessing it from the clients that they serve and having to provide as much case management support as possible. And so it's just important to determine how we can best engage community organizations that are having to constantly pivot and how these pivots have burdened and impacted their financial modeling, especially in the coming year. And so as they approach their budget season. And so they're trying to plan to be there, but also recognizing that there's a level of wanting to return back to the normal services or as normal as we can get. So just something for consideration. And finally, there was a little bit of discussion around the need for a level of visioning within recovery and building resilience within our communities, and this idea of our recoveries are, what are the policy or metrics that we can start to work towards as, we are increasing the numbers of those who are vaccinated, we are, lessening the constraints around shelter in place, but yet food insecurity will continue to remain a huge issue. We're looking at, as Alex said, a 10-year outlook on, emergency food needs and potentially growing food needs amongst community. And so the idea of, is there an entity that can start visioning for us of what we can start to work towards or build towards in supporting food and building community? So this idea of a recovery czar.
Love that. All right, that sounds like a really good goal. Thank you for all of that good work. All right, speaking of recovery, a different kind, shall we move to the food recovery? And that's Casey and Annalisa's group.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'll be reporting back for our group. So today we were discussing, continuing our previous conversations, talking about with food recovery, food rescue, how to bring in food generators into this conversation, because they're kind of that missing piece. We've got a lot of representation from food recovery organizations in this working group, but we're still missing the people who are generating the surplus food that we're picking up and that we want to pick up more from. So trying to figure that out. Also talking about how our group could work together to develop some tools or skills building to empower food recovery organizations to build in a fee for service, or maybe an opportunity to do some kind of exchange. So in exchange for providing the food recovery service to food generators, could there be an exchange of resources like trucks, or in addition a fee for that service? But then as we kind of go down that path, we realize that we don't have everyone at the table, and that everyone that's in our working group currently is still just a small subset of everyone that's out there in Alameda County and surrounding, working in our local food systems. So one of our next steps is to invite more folks in our networks to these meetings, to try to start those conversations, to pull them in. And then there was also a lot of energy around, as we're working together to solve these challenges, like how can we develop a cooperative governance system, so that the work is more equitable. I don't know. I don't quite have the lexicon to detail that, but there was a lot of energy around that, and we're going to continue to explore that. And one question that occurred to us in thinking about having representation was, even within these All in Eats working groups, there are still a number of people that are in different working groups that we could also collaborate with. So wondering how we can collaborate more and not stay separated in our silos.
Thank you. That we're actually wondering the same thing, because we know, like from my policy group, that there's all these policies that others may identify that we're not aware of yet, or that we don't realize are as important. And so trying to think through creatively how we can cross-pollinate, and I am open to ideas on how to make that happen. So if anybody has any creative thoughts, I would love to hear them. Maybe we, every 3 months or something, just mix it all up and have random working groups or something like that. I don't know. Open to thoughts. Thank you. Sounds like lots of cool ideas, and I love the idea of the exchange instead of, or in addition to, a fee for service for the food recovery groups. That sounds like a really cool idea. Okay, food policies. That's us. So I'm going to hand it over to Emily to give an update.
Hey everybody. So in the food policy group today, we decided on 3 main areas that we want to explore. One is a rapid response system for immediate advocacy efforts or needs. So if someone's like, hey, there's this food related policy that we should, we need to contact everybody about, maybe there'd be a person or a small group that would make sample tweets, sample emails and letters, BOS meetings, and think about organizations involved in points of contact, and just kind of think about how to respond, so then people can already have those and just get the word out. The second area is we want to visualize policy mapping. So maybe it might look like a list of different categories of policies, and then what policies are currently happening, what ones we are thinking to have happen, and then maybe we can see oh, this category doesn't have any policies, we need to work on that area. So we're going to be checking that out. And then the third area is thinking about how to connect with other the other groups in this space to find out what policy needs all the groups have. So yeah, definitely if you have policy needs, get in touch with us, but we'll probably get in touch with you as well.
Great. Thank you, Emily. And finally, workforce.
I got voluntold by our guest speaker that I'm going to speak. So since she was our guest, I had to do it. So I will report back from our group. I will say that this has been a really incredible group to continue talking with, and I love seeing the same faces and new faces joining. This time in particular, I was taken by we were sort of a strong female dominant group representing the district attorney's office, probation department, sheriff's office, and also Alameda County Office of Education, and a new member of the group from Green Life Project, which was great to learn about. But to have the systems kind of talking really very specifically to each other, to the point about getting out of silos around how to truly create pathways for workforce and career paths in the food system is very exciting. I can't say that, I think we really built off of where we left off last time, which was to kind of, Kate had brought up this idea of a technological solution. It's sort of I think of it in my own head as a bit of a Match.com to address the sort of all of the various partners who have clients who need jobs. And as we build out the food economy, where those jobs are, and how do we match those together in a way that is creates some ease for all of us involved. So that's something that is still kind of to be figured out and explored more. But the broader conversation that came up was around, the role of Alameda County in the investment in this food economy and the jobs within it to continue to support the true build out of these pathways, so that we're not just talking about a 520-hour worksite placement or a 6-week internship, that there is no cliff that is at the end of that we're actually truly building by the county for this system, the career pathways that are invested in at the proper rate of pay that's sustainable for people and prevents people going back down paths that we don't want them to go down. And we are all interested in that. And there are some good ideas around next steps that I think would be good to probably move into the policy group. So
sounds good.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Sounds like some very rewarding conversation. So thank you all for doing that work. And I'm going to share my screen again because we're going to go into a discussion about vision and mission with Dave. Are you with us, Dave?
I am with you, yes.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just want to let Larissa know that I am outside now. I haven't done a Zoom meeting outside probably the entire time I've been working. So it is a beautiful day. So thank you for suggesting that. So we had kind of previewed the draft vision and mission at the last meeting. Didn't take much in the way of comment. We thought we'd spend a little more time on it today, if there is a need for comment and discussion. We don't want to spend a lot of time wordsmithing, and we felt like we did a pretty good job of capturing both the vision and mission. But just starting with the vision, basically this is the beautiful world that we want to create with all it needs. And it's the same as it was last time, except we added the word in resilient because we felt like economic empowerment in some way, shape, or form needs to be part of what we're doing. Being healthy, the social determinants of health would require there to be some level of resilience and economic empowerment, but we want to spell it out. So the vision would be a healthy, nourished, and resilient Alameda County that benefits from a local and sovereign food economy. And sovereign wasn't part of the initial vision draft, but it was really clear that from the group that was a very important thing, that the folks had the control over essentially the means of production for the food economy. So I will stop there, take a look at it, questions, comments, let us know, and then we can move on from there. Everyone okay with it? I guess do a thumbs up if you can on your screen, if you're on your screen. Okay, I see some thumbs. All right. I can't see all that well because my prescription glasses have a shade thing when it's in the sun. So I'm like trying my best to see. All right. So the mission is kind of broken up into 3 parts. And this is basically what we do and how we do it. And it's kind of like how we acquire the food, or how we acquire it, how we deliver it, and then kind of what we're trying to create is essentially there's 3 components of the mission. So to provide Alameda County residents with healthy, affordable food that is sourced from local farms, recovered food, and small food vendors, and that could be restaurants or entrepreneurs, obviously, led by a county community collaboration and delivered through healthcare settings, food is medicine, home deliveries, community organizations, and food hubs to promote equity, economic empowerment, and sustainability within a self-regenerating circular food system. That's quite a sentence. But again, it's kind of broken into 3 parts, and that's kind of what we do and how we do it. So any kind of comments or questions you might have about that. Yeah, I'll give people a chance to get off of mute if they want to. All right, so I guess people feel comfortable with it. Everyone has like a thumbs up if you are. We can see if it's similar to the last one. I mean, a lot of thought went into these, and we really tried to be reflective of the organizations and individuals that are part of All In Eats, and also just being mindful of the work that we are doing and not overstating it. But these are the pieces of the circular food economy that are listed here in the mission. Okay, well, if that's being the case, let's move on to the next item.
Okay, then it is update time. We got a few of them here. The first one is we are excited to unveil our new tagline, which is the one that got most of the votes. And it is good food by the people, for the people, which we're super excited about. And we, as you can see, have now developed the logo with the tagline, and we are getting ready to develop a website to go with that, and some like magnets for people and that kind of thing. And we will be using this logo and the tagline together in a lot of different things coming up. So hopefully you guys are as excited about it as we are. And now, okay, wanted to just update you all, just in case you hadn't heard, the Good Food Purchasing Policy Resolution did indeed pass last month. So this is very exciting. The next step will be for the departments that were identified, the Sheriff's Office and the Probation Department, to go through a baseline assessment with the help of the Center for Good Food Purchasing. And then we will start to select some goals for how to shift their food spending. And hopefully that will support the circular food economy that we're building. So this is very exciting. We also have some nutrition standards that we've developed that we're helping to roll out to our food vendors. So as they're preparing meals for people in the community, that they are really healthy meals. And we're going to be doing some training with the food vendors in the month of March. Dates will be TBD. Hopefully we will know those by the end of this week. But any of the organizations who have been preparing food or have people who prepare food in general for people in our community are welcome to attend. And so we will send out links and information about that nutrition training coming up. And Karen from the Food is Medicine Department is going to give us a little update on the clinics.
Hi, everybody. This is Karen Bedmo-Chef from All in Alameda County. Thank you so much for having me today. So I'll just give a short update on the Food is Medicine work happening in the clinics. We now have 3 clinically integrated food as medicine programs running in Alameda County at Lifelong Medical Center, Native American Health Center, and Tiburcio Vasquez Health Center. It's been going really, really well, super exciting. And we've, in the last year, gotten out food to almost 1,000 people. So really getting up there in numbers of folks at the clinics. Our goal is to expand to another 2 clinics in the next 12 months. There's a number of policy opportunities related to this work, including AB 368, which would, I don't know if it's up there, there you go, which would provide some support around medically supportive food. There's also work around a CalAIM waiver, which would support health plans in providing food as a covered benefit. And let's see, the last piece is that in addition to the clinically integrated model, we also have 3 clinics that are doing monthly food pharmacies or bi-monthly at West Oakland Health Center, Roots and La Clinica, and getting food out to their folks monthly. And so that's sort of a short update on what's going on with food as medicine.
Excellent. And we know there are some other organizations doing food as medicine programs in the community, and we are looking for ways to collaborate and do some interesting projects together possibly. So more information on that will be coming. And anybody else have any updates they want to share? We have a few extra minutes. We're running ahead of schedule. So if there's anything pressing anybody wants to share on any topic.
Mary Ruth, I just want to acknowledge a comment from Nori on in the chat about small corner stores, small businesses included in the mission.
Yes, I can't see my chat right now.
Oh yeah.
Nori, do you want to speak up and just?
Yeah, well, since I work with the small corner store owners, they're, you know, they have a hard time. They have to deal with, they're in the communities, they know the community, they've been serving the community. They're typically the only ones that are providing food or produce. And so it'd be great if there was some, if they could be included. I don't know how, but maybe are considered at least.
Sorry to join.
I think we could include that. Small, healthy retail, you know, corner stores. I mean, we've come up with the wording, but we obviously want to call that out. Don't you think, Mary Ruth?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Any other updates or comments or anything?
I have a comment if no one's going to jump in. I just want to say thank you to Mary Ruth. She is fantastic and she plows through so much work every week and she's only half time. I have no idea how she does it. But I know this is a team effort and lots of folks are contributing and I appreciate every one of you. But I just feel like since she's on staff for the supervisor's office, and again, we only have her for half time, the amount of work she does, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. That's very nice. But yes, it is definitely a team effort. Okay, well, on that very shy moment for me, shall we draw this to a close? Our next meeting is March 24th, exactly 28 days from today. Hopefully that's going to work for everybody. If you would like to do a community share next month or some other time, please get in touch with me. Really, we would like you to step up and tell us if you've got something cool to talk about. We will be having hopefully a governance discussion next month or the month after. And also, if you are interested in facilitating any of these meetings or being more involved, let us know about that too. And with that, I think we will call it to a close. Thank you all. This is a great meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ruth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Keep doing great things.
You too. Bye-bye. Nice to see you, Wanda.
Wanda had some more incredible ideas today, Mary Ruth.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Did we write them down so we don't forget?
Jasmine wrote them down.
Okay, good, good, good.
I spent half the time in the food recovery and half in the entrepreneur, and they were both great meetings, and Wanda had even more. I mean, she had great ideas when we met them the first time, and then she had even more the second time.
Yeah, she's great. Nice to see you, Rob, too.
Hey guys, good afternoon.
How's it going?
All right. Sorry, delivering compost this morning. Hey, you know, attendance from farmers just feels a little thin.
Yeah.
It's spring, and the morning time is like imperative timing. So I know you already announced the time for the 24th, but I just wondered if it could be considered to maybe push it a little bit later into the day. It also feels like there's a lot of folks that are doing this as for their, part of their daytime work. So that's just me. I'm just one opinion, but wanted to, share.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So you think that would increase their ability to come out if it were in the afternoons?
I feel it might help. There's no guarantees on these kinds of things, but I feel it might help.
Okay. Go ahead, Dave.
Well, it's kind of an interesting point because it also dovetails with the issue of who else needs to be part of these conversations that we're having in the work groups, and B, who within All In Eats need to be part of these different discussions. I know that the food recovery group raised that. So maybe we do need to have some meetings that are outside of our monthly meeting for certain areas so that folks can get together. So if it works for farmers to be later, we'll have maybe it's even every other month, but have some meetings in the afternoon. And for food recovery, I mean, we talked about food recovery in the food entrepreneur meeting. I felt like we talked about that as much as we did in the food recovery meeting.
Sure.
So, I think that, but they can't be in both. That's why I wanted to be in both. I felt like, well, these are, food hubs and food recovery for me are the two of the things that I'm focusing on right now. So maybe we can talk about some things that happen outside of the monthly meeting. I don't know.
Yeah. Just wanted to put it out there. I think there's room on all sides. So yeah, absolutely. I also, your point is so accurate, Dave. Like there's so many of these subcommittees I would like to be able to be more supportive of. And also we've done some food safety focus group work with the East Bay and North Bay environmental health units and some of the gleaning groups as well. So that could contribute to the conversation on food recovery also.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you're right, Rob. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities. I mean, the good news is we have these questions, we have these issues to deal with because people are engaged and we can see how much more it can be. So it's a good place to be right now.
Yeah, definitely. It's moving ahead.
Yeah, moving ahead. All right, everybody, you have a good afternoon.
Thanks, you as well.
You too. Thank you, everybody. I think we'll end the meeting now unless anybody else has anything else to say.
Nope.
Okay.
Take care, all.
Thank you. I think you're the one who gets to do it, Edward.
Oh yeah, I was waiting for everyone to leave, make sure